In this section, we will talk about how WestJet avoided a strike with its pilots at the last minute by reaching an agreement in principle with their union. The Airline Pilots Association, ALPA, which represents more than 1,800 pilots at WestJet and its Swoop subsidiary, voted to approve an agreement in principle with WestJet management, following more than 9 months of negotiations on a new pilot contract. The agreement in principle is a preliminary deal that outlines the main terms and conditions of a collective agreement, but it still needs to be ratified by the union members in a final vote. The vote will begin in the coming days and is expected to last for several weeks. The agreement in principle was reached just hours before a strike deadline that was set for early Friday morning, May 19th. The strike would have disrupted thousands of flights and passengers across Canada and beyond, as WestJet had already cancelled hundreds of flights in anticipation of its fleet being grounded. The union said that the agreement in principle goes a long way to recognizing the value and expertise of the pilots, who have fallen behind their North American counterparts in recent years with regard to critical contract provisions, such as job security, career advancement, compensation, and scheduling flexibility. The union also said that the contract will help solve many of WestJet's pilot attraction and retention issues, which have made the airline a training ground for pilots looking to leave for better opportunities elsewhere. The union leaders said they believe the contract meets their goal of securing better job security, enhanced compensation, and more flexible schedules to allow for a better work-life balance. The union added that the contract will also support WestJet's growth strategy, as the pilots will remain committed to being a major contributor to the airline's success and help it realize its expansion plans. WestJet has not released any details of the agreement in principle, but said in a statement that it is pleased to have reached a positive outcome for both parties. The airline also thanked its guests for their patience and loyalty during the negotiations. The agreement in principle is a significant milestone for WestJet and its pilots, who have been working without a contract since April. The negotiations were complicated by the launch of Swoop, WestJet's ultra-low-cost carrier, which raised concerns among the pilots about job security and working conditions. The negotiations also faced several challenges and delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which severely impacted the aviation industry and forced WestJet to cut flights, staff, and salaries. The agreement in principle is a sign of hope and recovery for WestJet and its pilots, who have shown resilience and professionalism throughout the difficult times. The deal also demonstrates the importance of dialogue and compromise in resolving labor disputes peacefully and constructively. The deal was reached at the 11th hour, just before a strike deadline of 3 a.m. MT on Friday, May 19th. This means that both sides were able to avoid a costly and disruptive labor dispute that could have grounded hundreds of flights and stranded thousands of passengers. The negotiations were tense and complex, involving issues such as wages, benefits, scheduling, and job security. The pilots had voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike mandate in April, after rejecting a tentative agreement reached in March. They were unhappy with the company's plans to expand its low-cost subsidiary Swoop, which they feared would erode their working conditions and career prospects. The union representing the pilots, the Airline Pilots Association, ALPA, had been in talks with WestJet since September 2021, trying to reach a fair and equitable contract that would reflect the pilots' contributions to the company's success. The deal was finally announced on Friday morning, after a marathon bargaining session that lasted through the night. The details of the agreement have not been disclosed yet, but both parties expressed satisfaction and relief that they were able to find common ground and avoid a strike. The deal still needs to be ratified by the pilots, who will vote on it in the coming weeks. If approved, it will be the first collective agreement for WestJet's pilots, who unionized, and the union representing WestJet pilots announced that they have reached a tentative agreement with the airline, avoiding a potential strike that could have disrupted travel plans for thousands of passengers. The union said the contract meets the goal of securing better job security, enhanced compensation, and more flexible schedules to allow for a better work-life balance. What does this mean for the pilots and the company? Let's take a closer look at each of these aspects. Job security. The new contract guarantees that no pilots will be laid off or furloughed for the duration of the agreement, which expires, and it also ensures that WestJet will not outsource any flying to third-party operators or foreign airlines, and that it will maintain a minimum number of pilots on its payroll. Compensation. The new contract provides a significant pay increase for the pilots, who have not seen a raise since the exact amount of the increase is confidential, but the union said it is comparable to the industry standards and reflects the pilots' contributions to the company's success. The contract also includes a profit-sharing plan and a signing bonus. Schedules. The new contract gives the pilots more control over their schedules, allowing them to choose their preferred routes and destinations based on their seniority and preferences. It also reduces the amount of time they have to spend away from home, and provides more options for taking time off or swapping shifts with other pilots. The union said these improvements will help attract and retain qualified pilots, and enhance their morale and productivity. They also said they are confident that the new contract will benefit both the pilots and the company, as well as the customers and communities they serve.